The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Hey, I'm not there.
I noticed that.
I disappeared.
I'm wondering why you're not there.
It's the invisible man.
There you go.
Well, hello and welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
I'm CJ.
And it's Monday, the Monday after a epic blizzard.
Yeah,
A blizzard that was so tremendous, and you know, we got like 72 inches, and you know, everybody's making such a big deal. The streets got cleared. It was like 2 inches over a dusting. If I didn't, you know, if we got about 2 less inches, I could have cleaned the snow with a broom.
Yeah, well, you know, that's kind of true. I went out and tried to clean my car, and you know, I think I broke my back.
Yeah.
Half my car had snow on it, the other half didn't. And I was able to use a little snow brush and cleaned it all off. So, but again, you know, the weekend was. I will give kudos out to Ken Pacheco and some of the members of DCM. They did indeed get out there pre-storm, and they started pre-treating the roads, and you know, they got people out there. And you know, the mayor and his team is saying that, well, we had GPS on all these vehicles, and with that, we knew exactly where they were. Well, you know, I have a problem with that. But then again, you know, I'm kind of negative, as we know. And I witnessed in my own neighborhood several trucks come by, but they had the blades up. And on the Oak Grove Avenue area, we received reports that the trucks were going by with the blades up. And in the south end of Fall River, people were saying that the blades were up. And I have to ask why that would be. Now, the funny part about it was I was on Plymouth Avenue behind a truck on Saturday before the snow started, and there were several trucks out there, and the blades were down. So they were plowing dry asphalt. I don't know what they were plowing, but maybe the salt from the truck in front of them. But you know, GPS is only as good as the people who are behind the wheels of those vehicles if they're actually doing their job and they're working on getting the snow removed. Now, granted, they did a job, and you know, the mayor said that the parking ban went into effect at midnight before the snow started, and you know, I guess he erred on the side of caution. But again, we have to look at the fact that we didn't really get anything that we in Fall River are not accustomed to. And the way they handled this snow is the way they would normally handle it. And they did, I would say, a decent job. I'm not going to say, oh, they were magnanimous because of GPS. But, you know, they did a decent job. And my question is, how much money was spent on this snow removal compared to previous snow removals of a similar size snow? Okay, and I'm not calling this a storm by any means. A storm is what New York got. A storm is what DC got. A storm is what West Virginia got with 40 inches. This was a snow. This is what we get. This is Fall River.
Well, look, let's face facts. Let's not. We're making this into the, you know, this is the be all and end all. It was a, you know, we got 5 to 7 inches or so. There were spots, and I was talking to people where spots in their driveways because of the wind. It was still down to the pavement, a little drifting. But look, snow removal is snow removal. This is the Northeast, and Fall River is an old city. There's not a lot of place to put a lot of snow, and we have a really big storm. It's going to be difficult, and nobody's ever 100% happy with the way we remove snow. If you want to see snow removal, go out to the Midwest where they get, like, you know, you go up to upstate New York or to the Midwest where they get tons of snow, and they have the snow removal there is a science. So when you come to the Northeast, besides having a different configuration to the cities, because, you know, then we have parking problems. People are fighting over parking places. You can only park on one side of the road. Then they have to plow the snow into driveways that you just shoveled. Nobody's ever happy. But look, this is the first snowstorm, and storm, not blizzard, not, of no, look, let's not make a big deal because we got it done. The fact is, this was a good one. It was like training wheels. We got to have training wheels. We got a nice, kind of very, very small, just enough to be plowable and do a little plowing and get the kinks out and get the strategies done for the largest storms. We very rarely have that in this part of the country. We normally get a giant blizzard as our first welcome to winter, and then it's chaos. But look, the fact is, let's not say this is the greatest. This is the greatest story ever told. The snow removal in Fall River. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It's just this is the Northeast. We are going to get snow, and in reality, this is one of the few times I think, a mayor, and especially a new mayor, got to break his procedures in and see how things go during a snowstorm with a storm that wasn't of that much consequence. It was of great consequence in Baltimore and Washington, D.C., and even in New York City. But the reality is, in the Northeast, and Fall River especially, and the Providence area, it was a fairly insignificant storm as storms go in the Northeast. So with that, let's not make this the foundation of the re-election campaign, of what a great job we did on snowstorms. When we get 18 inches or better and nobody complains, I will say, okay, we did a good job. But, always kudos. The guys are out there all night, they're in a plows, and Ken Pacheco's coordinating it, and, that's it. They're out there, they're doing their job. And I'm sure that Ken was happy that he got a storm that was not that difficult to handle for him to get used to working with his new boss. So, because Ken's pretty, he's been doing it a long time, and it's good that they could work the kinks out. So let's forget about this, and let's deal with some real issues here, right? Let's deal with some issues about taxes and money and priorities and things like that, because let's not try to deflect the thought to, oh, we did a good job removing the snow. It doesn't snow 12 months a year here. We don't live in Antarctica. So let's get down to city business. And I see that Mark Monroe Dion wrote another article about the mayor and about the position. And although he talks about 65,000, but I think Mr. Dion doesn't. There's also some the money that he gets from the grants, that's not factored into that salary. So as I said, he will be probably making nearer to six figures. So, we have some bigger fish to fry than the snowstorm, don't we, CJ?
Oh yeah. Well, it's very interesting to see some of this, and Mark Monroe Dion and I never really have agreed on a lot of things, but lately his stories are right on the money. And people should read it today or tomorrow. But I want to get on to poli-sci, political science. And, just in case the mayor decided that he was going to delete all this stuff, it's all saved. The mayor posted on his own website, his own Facebook page, a picture of him with the future unemployed at Sam's Club. And again, I don't have a problem with that. He is the mayor, he needs to get out there, and he's trying to show that he's trying to work with these people, trying to find jobs for them and whatnot. And he actually said it stopped in Sam's Club today, and this was about 18 hours ago, and had an opportunity to talk to some of the hardworking people who are looking for replacement jobs. We're happy to announce that we are working with area retailers, so no one to leave no one without a job. Now here's the thing. We don't have many retailers in Fall River. That's the first thing. So.
Oh, major retailers.
Yeah, major retailers. So one of his minions, one of his followers, Mr. Paul Alexander said, "This is great to hear. I'll be the first to say I had doubts about a 24-year-old running our city. It's only been a couple of weeks and already you can see the dedication and drive to make changes for the better. I foresee James L. F. Correa II in running our city for many terms to come." Well,
I wonder what job he's going to get.
yes, so do I.
Assistant drugs.
Yeah. And so I posted, "Are you serious, Paul? This guy's becoming Flanagan too. And with the hiring of friends for political patronage jobs and not cutting unnecessary positions and downsizing government, piss poor. So far, this kid has done nothing to keep his promises. So far, almost everything he promised he has backpedaled on. How soon people forget." And we know this is true. Fall River has a very limited memory capacity. But, the mayor made the first of probably many political hat jobs that you've ever seen and mistakes possible. He says, the mayor said this now, "We eliminated 4 DCM middle management positions and several other positions, and it's less than a month in. Taking pictures and updating people on what I'm doing is part of the job, CJ. Certainly, as press, you can appreciate that. Why don't you give me a chance and make your assessment a few months from now?" Why? Because we don't have a few months. We don't have a few days. We don't have a few minutes.
Sounds like the old Red Sox. Wait till next year.
But we heard that from Flanagan too. Give me till the end of the term. Oh, I made a mistake. Give me another term. But I had to answer this. I had to. And I said, "Mr. Mayor, we're looking at issues at Fall River that have long history, and the people believe that you would provide change. We know some of that change may take time, but many changes can be immediate. The decision that have to be made, but be made by an individual who is not concerned about re-election, but their only concern is the future and betterment of Fall River. I'm not the only reporter that's calling you out on your campaign promises, and when we look at patronage jobs, they do not save money. In one job, you did what you want, even after you were told by the council no. This is why we, as the press, call you out. We told you publicly on the air, if you do what is right, we will support your decisions. But when they are not right or not what the people want, we will stand firm on doing what we do and pointing it out to the taxpayer. I will tell you, Mr. Mayor, like I tell many other elected officials, please review Article 5 of the Massachusetts Constitution. That is where your authority derives from, and that authority is the people's." And then I even put it in there, Part 1, Article 5, blah, blah, blah.
Well, okay. Now, that's now you know why I don't go on Facebook
Right.
and get into these Facebook wars, because it's like urinating into the wind, because it's ridiculous, okay? Because look, this is what happens. We get into these arguments. I think he's great. I think he sucks. I think this. I think that. Let's get down to the bottom line here and what's happening to Fall River and how we got here. This is how we got here. All these side arguments and all this distraction from the reality. We have to ask hard questions. The hell with the snowstorm. Number one, I think let's start with Walmart, because the picture's here at Walmart. Didn't Walmart say they were going to give hiring preferences at their retail stores to these laid-off people?
Yes, they did.
Okay, so the mayor's working, but Walmart's one of the largest employers in this area, or in the country. So if they're going to give hiring preferences, these people have probably got a decent shot at getting a job. So. And it's probably not going to be in Fall River, which is the bottom line. But let's look at these things. Let's look at what's happening here. On the last show, we read Kathy Ann's statement about taking short-term debt and turning it into long-term debt. Why isn't somebody focusing on that? I want to wait and see a city councilor ask the question, why are we taking short-term debt and rolling it into long-term debt so we can free up more money to make more jobs and then take another short-term loan and enroll it into long-term loans? We went over it at the last show. This is how we got here. And they lie. And every one of those, almost every one, I can't say everyone, but almost every one of those short-term debt, we can probably, if we go back into the archives and pull the city council meetings, we can see whoever the city administrator was, be it Sean Kadim, be it Kathy Ann Viveris, saying to the city council, oh, don't worry about this debt. It's short term. We got a low, we're only going to pay this for a couple of years and then it's going to be gone. So we're going to actually make money on the deal because we're only paying this for a few years and we can do what we've got to do, and then in a couple of years this will be gone and we won't have this debt to pay. Well, that almost never happens because most of the major short-term debt becomes long-term debt. So you pay the higher interest rate on the front end. I mean, this is, like I said, their infinite ignorance of fundamental economics is mind-boggling. So you take a loan, a short-term loan, to pay higher interest so you can get rid of it quicker. So we pay the high interest, so you'll free up your funds later on. And then after you get through paying this short-term and paying a higher interest rate, you roll it over into a long-term loan and pay a lower interest, but you pay for 1,000 years, so you're paying 10 times what you would in the short-term loan. So we got it on both ends, people. Welcome to Fall River. You get it tucked to you on both sides. And nobody asks a question. Our city council never, ever, ever says, why are we rolling this thing over? You said that we took this short term so we could get rid of this debt, and now you want to make this debt last until my grandchild's grandchild. So we can pay millions of dollars in interest. And the sad fact is, the money we free up by doing this, they're going to piss in a hole again. They're going to create more jobs and more ways to spend it, and it's not going to be on firefighters. It's not going to be on police officers. It's not going to be on services. It's going to be for jobs for their friends. That's the problem. That's what we have to ask. Let's get down to the bottom line. That's why I always say stay angry. Don't let them divert your attention talking about snow removal, and now they're going to fixate on this job. Yeah, you're right. This job is a symptom of the problem. But the problem lies in the way not only the mayor, but the city council of this city does business. I have never, and I've been going to council meetings for a very long time and watching council meetings and interacting with city councils. I have never seen a city councilor ever reject taking a short-term debt and putting into long-term. I've never even heard a question about it. And had Kathy Ann Viveris not mentioned it, they would have slid it right through, and nobody would have known the difference. So I'm waiting. The 9 city councilors, I want to see you, because I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to mention it at budget time. When you have the budget hearings, you're going to hear about it, because I will be there reminding you. And as I said before, and the way this city raises money is to break the backs of the people. A lot of people complained about the parking ban going in at midnight when the snow wasn't going to fall until almost 12 hours later, because, look, they like the ticket. You know, they're going to start giving out tickets. There's talk about a new ordinance that you have to clear your sidewalk within 3 hours or you'll be fined. So what does that do for elderly people with heart conditions that have to wait for someone to come over and clean their sidewalk, or some people who have to actually, like, maybe work and come home from work and do it, or have trouble getting their snow blower started or whatever? This is another way to raise money from the people who don't have it. And because the rich people can hire somebody to come and plow their driveways and shovel their walks. But the poor people have to go get their shovels and their snow blowers and go out and freeze their butts off and clean their driveways. And this is the way they do it. Ticket more people, more speed traps, more parking fines, and more ways to fine the public. And because Kathy Ann said we need a surplus. And by the way, just for the record, Kathy Ann says we want to have the state basically co-sign our loan so we could still get a better rate. Well, there's only one difference. If you or I co-sign a loan for a relative and they default on that loan, they're coming after you. But if the state lets us ride again, and that's their excuse to take more loans because we're getting a lower interest rate, even though we're going to run out of money, everybody better realize that. When we default on that loan, you know what the state's going to tell you? See you later, pal. We're not paying that loan. We're putting you in receivership. That's what's going to happen. So let's not get involved. Look, let's not. You know, Facebook is a diversion, and you know the rantings you see on Facebook. Maybe some people like to do that. I mean, you know, some people like to tell you they're going to the market or whatever. But the fact is, let's get to the bottom line. Let's see the way that this city is doing business. They're not doing business. All they're doing is accumulating debt and breaking the backs of the taxpayers. Go ahead, CJ.
Wow, you're quiet.
No, I see you're reading in there. I kept going because you're reading. I don't know what you're reading.
I'm still looking over this because, you know, and you're right. Getting into this stuff on Facebook is kind of ridiculous. But, you know, we were called out by Mr. Alexander, where he said, "CJ, get a life. If you plan to start a petition to recall this mayor too, you may have succeeded getting him out. But look at what you replaced him with for 10 months." We got slapped with a 120-year trash fee. I'm not interested in hearing that you have what you have to cackle about. Mr. Mayor, continue the good work. I know we'll see great things from you. And I said back to this guy, Mr. Alexander, I did not have C. Samuel Sutter elected. You, the people, did. If the people of Florida once again decide to recall a mayor, that is their right. I have gone on record stating that the recall is a last-ditch effort, not a way to do politics. And the mayor went one further on this because a woman by the name of Renee Damaris Manzo said, "I don't believe a word he's saying." And he turned around and he says, "Renee, we have jobs for these people. Please don't accuse me of lying." Thank you. You don't engage people when you're an elected official. You know, and as bad or as good as Will Flanagan was, he never engaged people. He had his people engage them. And that's what you've got to do. You know, you've got to keep your hands off of the controversy. By doing this, you have just made it very clear to people that you're like a little boy having a tantrum. And I said that in my weekend flush.
Yeah, well, let's not give the mayor a poli-sci lesson. He majored in it, and if he didn't pay attention, it's his problem. But let's give these other people a civics lesson. Look, I don't care. Look, you like the mayor, you think he's great, that's your prerogative. But please, stop with the look what we got for 10 months. The people elected him. This is not a perfect process. All you got to do is look at Washington.
Right.
I mean, for crying out loud, look at the clowns we got in Washington. I mean, the fact is that no matter what you do, you can't get them out. They're like ticks because their group will vote them in and say, well, vote out all the other congressmen, but I know this guy and I can get a favor from him. And that's the problem with American politics. But look, we've gotten a start here in this city. The recall was a start. We don't recall everybody, but we don't re-elect them.
Right.
If they don't do the job. And the thing is, nobody has a crystal ball. Let me say this. I mean, in case you don't know this, most people who are politicians lie. They make promises they don't keep. Yes, they do. I know that. I've heard it, I've seen it for decades. They make promises they don't keep. So what have our forefathers in their infinite wisdom given us the ability to do? They give us the right in our Constitution, both federal and state, to get them out. It says in the Constitution, we are the government. So yeah, you're right. We might get, like that old saying about you got to kiss a few frogs. Well, guess what? We got a lot of frogs we got to do, but it's a process. And if we keep voting them out, every time the new one gets in, maybe their feet, knowing their feet will be held to the fire, will make them behave a little bit more prudently and represent the people a little bit better. And if they don't, we get rid of them. And nobody's got a crystal ball. And you can like them, and he has people on both sides of that argument. He has people that worship the ground he walks on, and he has people that didn't like him from the beginning. I mean, let's face it, I'm sure the Sam Sutter supporters are basking in the glory of this drug czar job. But the fact is, look, this is politics. This is the system. But please don't start. Look what we got. Well, look what we got. I mean, Fall River is getting better. We're actually starting to vote these people out. I mean, look what we had just a few short years ago. We actually had a mayor get reelected on the platform of, I really screwed up everything my first term. So re-elect me, I learned. And he didn't. And then he got elected for a third term. And then we finally got him out. So maybe the people are waking up. So let's give the people some credit. And I'm not talking about, you don't vote on like or dislike. It's not a popularity contest. Yeah, John Kennedy got more votes because he looked better than Richard Nixon. That's why he won the television debate and Nixon won the radio debate, because people had to listen to the words when they listened to it on the radio and not look at John Kennedy, as opposed to Richard Nixon with 5 o'clock shadow. Because it's not about how good you look, it's about the job you do. Let's look at his job performance. Let's look at what he does as mayor. Let's evaluate what they do as a city council. Ask the question. He's already thumbed his nose at the city by ignoring the city council and the people who, from everybody I've talked to, don't want this job. So that's strike one. And now let's see what the city council does about long-term debt versus short-term debt and any questions they ask. And let's actually pay attention to the, it's the results. The Patriots lost last night. That was the score. You have to go by the score, whether you want to attribute it to Belichick or the missed point and ignore the fact that he kicked 2 other field goals. But that's your prerogative. There's going to be a million different things. But the bottom line is, when we get down to it, they lost. They're not going to go to the Super Bowl. The city is losing. When we judge politicians on anything but the bottom line and what they're doing, we lose in the long run.
Well, it's always interesting because, again, this is Fall River, and, you never can underestimate stupidity in this city.
Well, I'm telling you, I'll tell you, I think the people of Fall River have come a long way,
they
baby.
have. There's no
And
question.
and I'm giving them credit. I'm not, I think that they're paying attention, and I'll tell you what, as I look around other communities, this is one of the most involved communities in politics in this area, if not in the state. So congratulations to those people. Stay informed, and by all means, always stay angry.
Definitely. Hey, thanks for watching. We'll see you Wednesday here on Spindle City Straight Talk. Have a great one.